Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a January wrap-up. This month I read 4 books, which isn't much, but I'm actually pretty proud of it because it's more than I expected to read. So I have 2 4-stars, a 3-star, and a 1-star. So let's get started. So the first book I read this month was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, which is about a family whose daughter Ellie goes missing and the police think she's just like a typical runaway, but the mom Laurel thinks that something more sinister happened to her. 10 years later, the police end up informing Laurel that they found Ellie's remains, and so she just kind of takes it as a sign that it's time to move on with her life, and she does, and she meets this guy. He has a daughter, her name is Poppy, that looks weirdly similar to Ellie, and so it throws Laurel back into this wonder of like what happened to her daughter and why she went missing. It was definitely a different kind of read for me because the thrillers I read before have this like suspense throughout the book of like what happened, who did it, why they did it, how they did it. Whereas this one, you do have that suspense, but the plot twist is started to mention pretty early on. And then as the plot twist is mentioned again and again, you get more details about it, which I thought was a pretty cool way of revealing the plot twist because it kept me super intrigued because I knew a certain detail about it. But I was like, okay, now I want to know how it happened or why it happened. So it kept me super hooked and I finished it pretty fast because of that. As for the characters, it was kind of hard to connect with them because Laurel, which is mainly set in her perspective, she is very back and forth about the characters. So I think there's like Poppy, Floyd, which is her boyfriend, Hannah, which is her other daughter, and then her ex-husband. She's super back and forth about how she feels about them. And so it kind of like rubbed off on me where I was like, do I like them? Do I not? Like I'm confused about them. But overall, I think it was a pretty good book and I gave it a 4 out of 5. The next book I read is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, which I don't have the cover for because I took it off to read it and then I don't know where I left it. But this book is about Mariana, who goes back to her old college to help out her niece Zoe because there's been a string of killings and she has this certain professor, Edward Fosca, that she thinks is the suspect, and so she's super hooked on like trying to prove that it's him. I'll start with what I liked about the book. I did like the clues that she finds on Edward. I think they like made sense. And just like the clues themselves were pretty interesting to read about. And then the other thing I liked was that Theo, which is from The Silent Patient, is mentioned briefly in this book. He's not like in a whole different storyline, but he's just mentioned as like a extra kind of in this book, which I thought was pretty cool for the author to do. What I didn't like about the book is that I just felt like the author makes it so obvious that he was trying to confuse you so that when the plot twist came, it throws you off and it's like super unexpected. So, but like by doing that, he adds these like random characters and random storylines that make no sense or like make no difference to the book. And so if they were there or they weren't there, it literally adds nothing other than a character to confuse you as to like, could it be this one? Could it be that one? Could it be this guy? Whatever. And then it got to the plot twist. And because it's so focused on all these random other characters, it gets to the plot twist and I literally like know almost nothing about this character. So the way I felt, it was like there's this storyline and then there's these like random characters that pop in as like a confusion. And then it gets to the plot twist and the author almost had to like recap its own story just for the plot twist to make sense because everything that you read before that has nothing to do with the plot twist. So if you read The Silent Patient, you know that once the plot twist comes, the whole rest of the book makes sense now. Whereas this one, the whole rest of the book was like, oh, okay, so I just read that to confuse me, but now this is a whole different plot twist. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but it annoyed me when I got to the plot twist. It made no sense to me. I was like, okay, that was it. Like, wow. And then honestly, there's like details about the plot twist that are just so cringy to me. They're like gross. So I didn't like it. I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars and I would not recommend you to read this. The next book I read was Stranger in the Lake by Kimberly Bell. And this one is about a newly married couple, Charlotte and Paul, that deal with these like judgments from their town because they're from like super different upbringings. But they're also super suspicious of Paul because a couple years back, his wife was found dead in the lake under their dock. But Charlotte decides to marry him anyway. She really likes him, and so they have this like cute little married life until she ends up finding a girl dead in the lake under their dock, same place as the wife, and she remembers seeing Paul talking to her the day before. And so it throws her into this big like, who did I marry? How, like, could he have done this? Could he have done, like, could the rumors be true about what happened before with his wife? And I thought it was a pretty good book. I liked that the book has like multiple twists. They're not these like huge twists, but there's like multiple twists throughout the book that were like really interesting. And then I also liked the brother and sister bond that she has with her brother. What's his name? His name is Chet. I like the bond that she has with her brother Chet. He's just always there for her, whatever she needs. She's there for him, whatever he needs. And they have this like really sweet bond, which I really liked. It's really cute. I have a bond with my sister, so I just feel like I connected with that. The only character that's super annoying in this book is Paul, the husband, because I felt like he does certain things that are really annoying, but like they're kind of like unrealistic. Like I just feel like that wouldn't actually happen, but it's a book. So either way, I thought it was really good. Initially I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I think I would maybe give it like a 3.5. But I did like it, and I recommend you read it. The next book I read was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I don't know. And this book is about a married couple, Nick and Amy just went missing on their 5th year anniversary. And the police are trying to find her, and at first they kind of start looking into the husband because they just tell him like, it's typical, we need to look into you, like you're the one closest to her, we have to look into you. But then they actually start suspecting him. I won't give too much away, but that's the gist of it if you want to know like what it's about before going into it. This was kind of a book that I wish I like knew nothing about before going into it. But either way, that's kind of just the gist you need to know about. It was really a slow start for me because Nick was just a really annoying character. Like he's just this like shitty husband. But then I have to give props to the author for that because she just makes him very like believably annoying. Like I mentioned in this book, the husband is annoying, but it's almost like he's just annoying because he's kind of like doing dumb stuff, but it's almost not really believable, the stuff that he does. Whereas this one, it's so believable that I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's like irritating me, he irks me, like he just sounds like a shitty ass guy. Like I would not want to like have anything to do with him if I were her. Like he's just sucks. So he's just like very believably annoying. So I give props to the author for that. The plot twist, it wasn't expected, and it was a kind of like gotcha moment because if you see my reading vlog and like you've read the book, you'll know that the thoughts that I had are like exactly what the author wants you to think. Everything that I thought, everything that I believed, everything that I was like falling for is exactly what the author wants you to fall for so that the plot twist makes sense. So I think that even at the end of the reading vlog, I was like, is it too obvious that it's Nick? But it like has to be him. Like who else could it be? And so if you've read the book, like you know how that makes sense. And so I gave this book a 3 out of 5 because it was just a really slow start for me. Like even just reading it, I wanted to get more into like the investigation. I was like, I want to know more about like how she disappeared. Like just tell me about that already. It was more just about like their everyday life, and like a lot of it is her diary entries, which are super important to the book. Once I got to the plot twist, I understood that. But while I was reading it, I was like, can we just get to the investigation already? And then I think after the plot twist, I didn't really get into a mode of like, I can't put it down, I have to keep reading it. Just because, like, how do I explain it? I was just kind of like, oh, okay, she got me, damn. And then I just kind of like continued on with the book as regular. Like, I wasn't super like, I have to know everything. Like, it just what it didn't really get me like that. So yeah, I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. If you've read this book, let me know what you thought, because I know other people really love this book. So I just want to know what other people thought about the book. But yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. So those were the books that I read this month. If you want to let me know what you thought about any of these books, please comment down below, because I really want to know what you guys thought. Especially if you've read The Maidens. That one is like I said, 1 out of 5 stars for me. So if anyone liked it, let me know like what you liked about it, because I do want to hear like people that did like it, what they thought. But yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!